everyone. Welcome back to the Laboratory of Mayhem. It's been a while. I really need to make more of these videos. Today we're going to be going over the Hot Toys Born Again Daredevil figure. I got this a couple weeks ago, but I was thinking to myself, everybody's done a video on this where they open it up inside of a light box and show you all the cool accessories, and everybody's seen it by now because my figure got here a little bit late. So I figured I need to make a background that I can actually display this thing in and give you an idea of how accurate it looks and sort of with an environment behind it. I got into Marvel Comics back in mid-70s, about 1976. And so the version of characters I came up with were the great classic, the peak times of Marvel Comics. My first introduction to Daredevil was in an issue of Captain America. I kind of knew about Daredevil. He was in the made references inside the various issues that I was collecting. Captain America is my primary favorite hero, and I got this issue, number 234. I think it came out in 1979, and it was a little crossover between Cap and Daredevil, and I was like, wow, this is a cool character, which led me to go back and look at some Daredevil issues. The farmer's market where I used to pick up my comic books had a gigantic spread where you had just stacks and stacks of comic books that you would have to thumb through to find the ones you wanted. And my dad used to take my brother and I over there, and we would sit there for an hour just looking through all the different stacks to find something we wanted. So I started getting Daredevil. Now, back then there was, you didn't have the internet. So if you wanted an issue, you had to go hunt for it, or you had to find some reference to something that would tell you something about the character. There was also it's a soft cover book, but it was almost like what they would be a graphic novel these days. And it was called Origins of Marvel Comics, and they had a bunch of the origin stories of some of the heroes that you would be collecting, because not everyone had those first issues. And even though periodically there would be recaps and kind of refresh the reader on how the character came to be, I thought it was a pretty cool thing to get the whole compendium about how so many of these characters were created. And one of those was Daredevil, and he started off as a young kid. He was being raised by his father, who was a boxer and didn't want him to fight. And so he started training on his own and working out and becoming, physically fit behind his dad's back. And then one day he's walking down the street as a young man, and he sees an old fella about to be run over by this military truck that's out of control, and he knocks the guy out of the way. The chemicals spill out, and they go down his face, and they blind him, but they also raise his other senses. And that's the origin of Daredevil, the man without fear. So when the first version of this figure came out from Hot Toys, it was the Netflix version. And I really didn't care for the suit too much because I thought there was a little too much black in it. I prefer the red suit. It's more classic. I mean, it kind of fits with the whole devil motif. And so I was really, when I saw this one be released, it's not quite the Ben Affleck version, which still had some issues with the mask and so forth, but I thought this was a pretty cool alternative. So when I saw it, I was like, you know what, I got to get a Daredevil figure because, like, at some point I may want to recreate some of those scenes that he had in the Captain America book. So here's the box, and the box is fabulous. Like all of the Hot Toys packaging, it's fabulous. It's got great texture to it. It's got a good feel to it, and it even has his name in Braille up there. I better never go blind because I'm not very good at that. Awesome design goes through there. You get, like, on the back, it's got like the little lines in here for his radar sense, as it's portrayed in the comics, which is pretty cool. You see it here, like I don't know if the camera will pick it up with all the reflection on it. You can kind of see these curved lines. It's like an outgoing circle. That's how his radar sense is portrayed in the comic book. I got him out here like this, and he's a great little figure. A little bit shorter, which kind of tracks for Charlie Cox. I believe Charlie Cox is like 5'9" or something. So he's going to be a little bit shorter than your other figures, which is great. It just gives you a good variety on your shelf. Here he is with his billy club, and I put the grimacing, like the angry faceplate on him, like that. Which will get into the details of the figure. So without further ado, let's check that out. This is the Daredevil Born Again figure from Hot Toys. And I figured it would be better to have this displayed up on some kind of environment to give you some idea about just how good the figure looks itself. Now, it comes with some really cool features. He's got his billy club that comes in two pieces here. It fits inside of his holster. And there's a really cool element to this that I thought was just absolutely genius. They gave him the cord, or the cable that attaches to his billy club. So you could take this, it's a very, very thin wire, it's posable. You could take this and put him on a stand with sort of the transparent look to it and have him suspended. And then you would have him holding on and swinging from the cable, kind of like Spider-Man, which I thought it was pretty cool. Very, very clever way of doing the accessory. They fit snugly inside of his holster here, which works up on the leg. Okay. We're going to look at some of the other features that he comes with. He also has an interchangeable faceplate, as is typical for most of these newer figures. And what I thought was an interesting element to this was my Captain America that has the same kind of swappable face. It's a little tricky to get in. You got to manipulate it a little bit to get it out. Well, in this, the helmet actually lifts up slightly so you can get a hold of the face and take it out. Put the other one in and then slide it down like this, which I thought was a pretty cool feature. So it gives him the grimacing look, little gnarled teeth showing because he's kind of angry. Now, the posability of the figure is a little bit limited to the suit, but it's a trade-off like everything else is. You're going to lose some flexibility because of the nature of the suit, but the suit does look incredible. I preferred this one over the Netflix version because it's got more red to it. Like I really appreciated the Daredevil, the red classic look. Not so much the She-Hulk version they came out with, which I thought was sort of, just, I don't know, it was that brown and gold. Never really did much for me in the comic books. I can understand the blind fella not recognizing the color palette, but I think the red is definitely much more Daredevil than, the only thing I didn't really care for. I'd like to see more red in the boots, but it's not too bad. It's of course, he's lacking the DD on his chest, which I thought would have been pretty cool. Take a look at some of the flexibility in the figure. One thing that is a complaint about it is that the head seems to be sort of like a small neck on him. And I was looking at this. It's not so much the neck, but there's a little pad inside here underneath the shoulder, which kind of lifts this up. The neck itself is actually pretty big on the figure. As you can see here, put it back in like that. He comes with an alternate Charlie Cox head sculpt with some really cool glasses. Now the sculpture on this, if I can get my camera to focus better, there we go. This sculpture is incredible. Really has a great likeness to Charlie Cox, and he comes with these cool red lens glasses that fit really well. Very fragile, but you can see how it looks on there. Give him a little quick swap out here. If you ever have the inclination to pose your Daredevil looking like Matt Murdock instead, and there he is. Okay, let me see if I can get my focus a little bit better. There he is. Pretty impressive. Let me swap out back to the adventure head sculpt. A little tight. These Hot Toys figures have really come a long way since just a few years since I've really been collecting. So the flexibility in you're not going to be able to get a whole lot of the crouching sort of like Spider-Man poses. You really can't get him too much because the suit pushes him back up, but you can get him into this, like it is a solid neck, so you lose the flexibility where if it was a different kind of sculpture, you could get the head moving independently of the neck, but we don't have it. But still, you can still get some pretty impressive poses out of it, like this. And he's got, like, you could do some backflips with him, because Daredevil is rather acrobatic as a character. You can do some poses this way. You can have him climbing, you can have him jumping, but pretty impressive figure. He comes with the typical stand. He comes with 4 extra sets of hands. He has the regular full-length billy club that you can pose him with if you wanted. Not a whole lot of accessories, but with Daredevil, I don't think you really need a whole lot. He does have the base with a detachable nameplate. He's got Daredevil Born Again logo. He's got his little, little plate, nameplate. Fits on here if I could stop dropping it. Like that. It's magnetic. Or is it just a clip? I think it's just a clip. Push it right in there. And of course the stand in the back goes back there. Personally, I like more of a diorama backdrop for my figures, which is why I decided to go with this kind of review on the figure. He does come with a pretty cool extra mask with a broken horn like this. Now, it's not detachable and you can't put it on the figure, but it's sort of like a little trophy there from his rougher experiences, which is pretty interesting little thing that he could have sitting on his desk if you decide to build a desk for him. Okay. We're going to take a look at this compared to some of the other Daredevil figures that have come out. I did want to take the opportunity to do a little comparison between this and some of the other Daredevil figures that have come out. First, as I mentioned earlier, my first introduction with Daredevil was in the pages of a Captain America comic book. So I wanted to pose him together with Cap here. One of the things I appreciate is the differences in my figures. You can see the scale difference between Captain America and Daredevil. Cap's supposed to be about 6'2", and Daredevil in the comic book, he's about 6 foot. So it's a little bit excessive, but I think it blends well with the aesthetic of Charlie Cox really well. I thought that was just something I wanted to play with a little bit. Okay, now several years ago, after I had passed on the Daredevil figure from Hot Toys from the Netflix series, SooSoo Toys came out with their Blind Vigilante. Now, I did a body swap on this because I thought that the original one that this came with was the, if you're familiar with any kind of customization and loose body, as you see. The gang hood body, which is sort of a bigger, bulkier figure, and I didn't think it really fit the aesthetic of Charlie Cox build, and I wanted consistency, so I did a body swap, and it's pretty good. It's just a general Hot Toys muscular body clone. I think it's ZC Toys. Uh, they run you about $20 to $25 if you wanted to do a body swap on it. So I have that one. I also picked up the blind vigilante or the blind lawyer figure. Now it's a little bit tall. I may end up doing a body swap on this one. You see, you can stand them together. You can see how the Matt Murdock lawyer, his shoulders are considerably higher than the um, the Daredevil figure. So if I was going to keep them, obviously I don't need them on appearing at the same time because that would kind of ruin the the aesthetic that they're the same person. So I would have to get a shorter body for Matt Murdock here. Also, the head sculpt that comes with the Daredevil figure is remarkably better. Not that the SooSoo Toys isn't a good sculpt, but the Hot Toys sculpture is just so much better than the other one. And also, now here's one thing that's kind of interesting though. When you compare the two, the head on the Charlie Cox here is actually a little bit bigger than the helmeted one. So the scale is actually a little bit off. I mean, yes, it's going to be the hair would be compressed and so forth, but it's pretty close, but it's a little bit larger. And you can see the size difference between the um, the Matt Murdock from SooSoo Toys and the Matt Murdock from Hot Toys. I do like that the SooSoo Toys comes with some cool accessories. They have the little helmet. It doesn't actually fit on the head, but it's kind of like you could pose him with it. That he's got his Daredevil thing. He also comes with the the handicap blind cane, which is actually collapsible. It's got a strip of elastic inside, and these telescoping pieces go inside of it, and you can actually take it and fold it up like this, and you could take the cord and wrap it around so it would stay in position. And what's pretty neat is take it and look at it does unfold like an actual blind cane. But those are some options for you in your Daredevil universe. Of course, we wouldn't be complete if we didn't have his arch nemesis with him, and outside of Bullseye, of course, which Hot Toys, I'm sure, will be making one to go along with the Born Again series. But here's the SooSoo Toys Kingpin figure. I think they call him the big boss or something like that. And fabulous sculpture on it. The body is impeccable. I think I did a video on this already, and I did the unboxing of him. But he blends really well with this because I don't know that Hot Toys is going to be putting one out. And quite honestly, I don't know if they're going to top this very much because what else can you do with the figure? Comic books, like he might be a little bit larger than the figure represents, but I think it does a really good job at conveying the size difference and imposing figure of the Kingpin. And so, if you're making your Daredevil shelf, I think it would uh, be a great setup for you. So that's my review on the Daredevil figure. Fabulous. I'm really happy with it. I don't have too many critiques about the whole thing. Yes, the suit does limit some of the posability that you get with it, but I don't think, unless you're trying to go for some kind of extreme pose, I don't think you're going to have too much of a problem with it. Hot Toys is already coming out with their Daredevil suit for Born Again Season 3, which is mostly black with some red accents on it, including Double D. You can check that out at Sideshow Collectibles or the Hot Toys page themselves. I would imagine before long we're going to be getting in-hand pictures of some of the other figures that they have coming out in preparation for Doomsday. And you also have you might want to check out the offerings that they're doing for Spider-Man Brand New Day. They have an incredible Hulk that's about 20 inches tall. He's gigantic with a fully seamless body on them, which is a first. It's quite expensive at $435. That's before tax and shipping. So you're probably looking at about close to $500 when you get your Hulk. But it will be something worthwhile and captivating inside your collection shelf. Good luck fitting him in there at 20 inches tall. So he's a big boy. But anyway, thank you for tuning in on the channel. If you have any questions I can help you with, please feel free. I hope to be doing another video very soon on my latest acquisition of the latest female World Box body, which should be coming soon. Thanks for tuning in.